Alright, so today I have to discuss a topic which is one of the most important topics for class 12th board examinations as well as the JEE and the practical examinations as well. Now, I'll be discussing meter bridge and the potentiometer in this whole session, and I'll be focusing more on the potentiometer because the review which I have got from most of the students throughout India and abroad, that is they are facing some problem in the potentiometer, like they are not able to understand this topic theoretically. So I'll try to tell you most of the techniques which I use while solving the numericals, and while in the practical examination also, those techniques will help you. So before starting the session, I suggest you to keep a notebook and pen with you so that you can write the important points or important things whichever you feel like, and for your reference further. Let me start now. So I'll be starting with the meter bridge, which is actually the very practical form of Wheatstone bridge. And in the Wheatstone bridge, we have already discussed the balanced and the unbalanced Wheatstone bridge, which was like having the in the balance we used to discuss P divided by Q was equal to R divided by S. The ratio of the resistances was equal according to the arrangement, and the G resistance which was present in between the wires, that was neglected throughout. It was neglected, and this is the same principle. This the balanced Wheatstone bridge is the background principle of the meter bridge. All right. Before discussing further, we'll discuss one important point here. We'll be having one wire which will be connected with some voltage cell, and the voltage will be divided across the wire throughout the wire. Okay. So if this is like 10 volts which is divided in 1 meter, so I must say that if you have 10 divisions, if you have 10 divisions, so in 1 meter it's like 10 volts. So what will be the resistance in 1 centimeter? So that will be 10 divided by 100 centimeter multiplied by 1 centimeter. Okay. So if you check the accuracy of this wire, you can actually measure 0.001 volts just by moving the key from one point to the another point, like 1 centimeter to another centimeter. So you can actually check the working accuracy of the devices. So we'll discuss this in the upcoming topics. Let's come to the meter bridge first. So the basic principle on which we have to focus, that is the resistance per unit length first. So what exactly is this resistance per unit length? We will be given uh, with some wire of resistance. So I can say that 100 centimeter of the wire contains resistance R. This whole wire is having some resistance, like this wire. So 100 centimeter is having resistance R. So 1 centimeter is going to have a resistance of R divided by 100. This is the simple unitary method which I am using. Now, what will be the resistance in L part? This portion of the wire. So that will be R divided by 100 multiplied by L. And what will be the resistance in the 100 minus L part? That would be R divided by 100 multiplied by 100 minus L. Alright. Now the basic thing is, what I have done is I have divided the wire in two portions. The first portion is having length L, and this is the resistance of the first portion. The second portion of the wire is having length 100 minus L, and the resistance of that portion is in the same ratio, in the length ratio. Now the next thing is, the meter bridge is arranged in such a way that we have four resistances: X, S, this is the resistance of portion 1, and this is the resistance of the portion 2. So with the same principle of the balanced Wheatstone bridge, we attach a galvanometer and a jockey here. So this will help us to attain the balance point, at one point of the wire throughout the 100 centimeter wire. Now the basic thing is uh, the resistances have to be in ratio. So what I have done is I have used the same principle of the Wheatstone bridge and kept the ratio constant. X divided by the portion 1 resistance and S divided by the portion 2 resistance. Alright. Now you can easily solve this result further and cancel out these hundreds here and also this R. So you will get this simple result, X divided by L and the S resistance divided by 100 minus L. So this is the working relation of the Wheatstone bridge, the meter bridge. And now there is the basic difference between a slide wire bridge and a meter bridge. That is, in the case of slide wire bridge, we can change the length of the wire according to our convenience. We can keep any length of wire. In the meter bridge, it is 100 centimeter. But in the slide wire bridge, it could be any length in 150 centimeter, 2 meters, 4 meters, 5 meter, whatever it is required, we can keep that. So the basic difference is only instead of this 100, we have this L here. Now just keep these basics in mind before I discuss the potentiometer, because this will help further in the potentiometer circuits. And the numericals which are related with the Wheatstone bridge we can discuss in the session whenever we'll try to get the next session. Let's see. Now in the potentiometer, the diagram which you will see in most of the books, that will be like this. And one thing I must tell you, the important point, that is, the most important thing in the potentiometer circuit is the symbols. So I have always tried to keep the symbols in my way. I've always tried to keep these alphabets or the variables in my way so that I can understand the question and directly substitute in the relation, whatever we'll discuss. Now, let me discuss these symbols first. So, R is the the resistance of the wire. L is the length of the wire, the potentiometer wire. So, we have a zero end of the wire, and from this zero end, we have this balance point. And the potentiometer circuit has to be broken up into two parts. One is the primary part of the circuit, the next is the secondary. So we'll discuss in detail. Okay, now what is this working principle of this potentiometer? The principle of working of the potentiometer is simply based upon the electric field. We have discussed in the current electricity that when the current is going to flow, the current is flowing through the wire, the electric field which is set up in the wire, that is constant. So E was equal to V divided by L. This was the relation which we used, and the potential gradient here which we have taken a symbol, that is K, so that we may not confuse it with EMF or any other thing, the voltage. So we have just kept the symbol as K. Alright, now everything in the potentiometer I have made it according to some convenience, like according to my convenience. I've broken up the potentiometer in 3 or 4 arrangements. Okay, and let us discuss the arrangement 1 first, from which we are going to get all the information which is required in the upcoming circuits, also in the arrangement 2 and arrangement 3. Okay, so this is the arrangement 1. Now in this arrangement 1, the circuit has to be broken up into two parts. So one is primary and another is secondary. Now the resistance R, this is not the internal resistance. Keep in mind, this is the external resistance. Okay. And this R is the resistance of wire and L is the length of the wire. Now the basic thing is, the wire is attached with some battery E. This is the primary voltage. Okay, this is the primary voltage. And the current is always going to flow throughout the primary circuit. and in this arrangement one there will be no current which will be flowing in the secondary circuit. Okay, and let us discuss one important point now. We have discussed in circuit theory the internal resistance and the voltages like EMF and TPD, the basic difference between EMF and TPD. So what we do is, let's construct one circuit in which we have, this is the external resistance R, this is small r, and this is the battery E. Try to make a chart. I suggest everybody to do this and try to make at least 5 readings. Then you will actually get to know what exactly I'm telling you. One is like the EMF of the battery, you can keep this fixed. Just keep it as 10 volts. So this will be 10 and throughout it will be 10 for the next 3 readings, like the total 5 readings. And try to keep this R as a variable resistance. Try to keep this R as variable. Now what you will see, and keep this R fixed. Whatever you have applied in the beginning, try to keep this fixed only. Don't change this one. Now what you will see, if you increase the value of this small resistance R or the variable resistance R, which is actually the external resistance here, you will actually see when this R goes on increasing, the current in the circuit will decrease and the voltage across this R resistance will also decrease. So this is the major thing which you have to see while substituting all these values. Fine. So why I'm telling you this example, the reason is like whatever resistance I'm using here, like if I'm using a 10 volts of battery here and this resistance could be any value here, the voltage which is set up across this wire, like from this end to this end, that will not be 10 volts, that will be less than 10 volts. It could be 8, it could be 7, or it could be any value, but it will be less than 10. Now the basic thing is, let us suppose the voltage which is set up across the wire, that is 8 volts. Okay, the voltage which is set up across the wire, that is 8 volts. And while performing the experiment, to attain the balance point, you have to choose this battery, or you have to choose the voltage of this battery. Now if you keep the value of this V less than 8 or equal to 8, so you will get the balance point within this whole range. Okay, when you keep V is equal to 8, then you will get the balance point at the last end, or that is the last point of the wire, whatever it is. And if you keep the value less than 8, then you can attain the balance point anywhere in this wire, throughout here and in this wire only, like you will not go through the end. Fine. So now this is the basic potentiometer which you have to understand. Okay, now the working of the potentiometer is based of this arrangement 1. The working of this arrangement 1 potentiometer is based upon the fact the current will only flow in the primary circuit, and if you apply Ohm's law, E will be equal to I multiplied by R plus capital R. Fine, and you can calculate the value of current if you need here. That will be E divided by R plus R. And the conditions which are required for the working of the potentiometer I have already explained you now. So keep these in mind. This voltage has to be greater than V. Also one more thing, the voltage across the wire, like the voltage which is across the wire, that also has to be greater than this V. Fine. Now the next thing is, let's try to calculate the resistance of this portion of the wire. So the resistance of only this portion will be RL divided by L. And if you multiply with this current, the current flowing in the wire, then what will you see? That the voltage across this portion of the wire, the voltage across this portion of the wire, that will be equal to this voltage, because it is balanced. Balanced means this galvanometer will show zero reading. Okay, and it is only possible like if you keep the value of V less than the voltage across the wire. Now, if this voltage balances with the voltage across the portion of the wire, so then you can attain a balance point at this end, or like this point of the wire. It may be any centimeter or any meter throughout the wire, within the wire. Fine. Now the next thing is, I have substituted the value of current I here, and I have solved this relation to get this simplified relation, which actually looks very complex. Now you have to see that uh, I have made this relation according to my comfort, and that I can easily show you while I do the numericals. And while you go in the practical examinations also, you can keep this result in mind. But this result will not work if you will forget the basics of potentiometer. This result will only work if you understand the variables or the symbols or the working of the potentiometer. Then it will become very easy. And this will break up the question in very simple way to get the answer directly. And let me tell you, uh, this relation can actually help you to calculate the readings which are required for the balance point in the potentiometer circuit while you are performing the experiment. And if you actually understand this, you will have, I mean, you won't need to touch the potentiometer circuit if you understand this relation in detail. Alright, so first let me discuss this first basic case of the potentiometer circuit. So you can check this. In a question we are being given, we have a potentiometer wire of 10 meters length, which is connected with the external resistance of 480 ohms, and a 5 volts of battery is applied. Fine. So if you break the circuit in two parts, so the current in the primary circuit which is flowing, that will be 5 divided by 480 plus 20. Simply you can write it as 5 divided by 500. So this is the current which is flowing in the primary circuit, only in this portion of the circuit. Okay. And you have to calculate this unknown EMF and the potential gradient across the wire. Okay, before coming to this question, we can discuss one more point, that if you apply resistance here, that will not make any effect. So you can choose any resistance from 0 to infinity only when it is a case of arrangement 1. Okay, you can keep any resistance here. Why? Because there is a basic difference between TPD and EMF. In the case of EMF, no current flows in the circuit. So if no current flows, we don't require any resistance. Or if resistance is present there, that will not make any effect in the circuit. Secondly, when we are discussing TPD, and while TPD, there is the basic definition suggests that there should be a current between two terminals of the circuit. So that can make the difference. But here it will not make any difference because we are just trying to balance the cell, this external cell, with the voltage across the portion of the wire. So let's discuss this now. Let's come back to this question. So we need to calculate the potential gradient across the wire and the unknown EMF. Fine. So according to the data, this is R, this is E, this is capital R, this is L, and I have to find uh, the unknown EMF, which I have termed in my symbols as V. So let's calculate this V. We can change that symbol later on. Okay. So this is the result. Now why I was telling you that this result actually breaks the circuit and comes directly to the answer, you will understand this now. Substitute the values directly. the small r is 480 and the capital R is 20. The length of the wire is 10 meter and this is the EMF of the cell, the primary cell voltage. So I have put all the values here and the balance length was given to me as 6 meters in the question. Okay. Now if you will solve this, you will directly get the answer of V. And you can try this. You will get the value of V as 0.12. Fine. Now after this, the potential gradient now. So this is the voltage which we need. This is 0.12. Okay. Now after this, if we have to calculate the potential gradient, so the potential gradient is basically we can discuss that in two different methods. Like the first method is the balanced the balanced voltage divided by the balanced length, and the second is the voltage across the wire, like from this end of the wire to this end divided by the total length of the wire. So I have two methods, whichever you feel easy you can use that. So the first method is like we can use this voltage and the balance length, so we can calculate the the potential gradient directly. Okay, so this is balanced EMF which I told you. And in the second case, you have to find the voltage across the wire first by using the formula of TPD or by using the basic Ohm's law, whatever you feel comfortable. So the current which was flowing in the circuit, that was 1 divided by 100 ampere, and if you multiply this with 20, so this will be the voltage which is set up across the wire. Okay, the potential gradient is potential set up across the wire divided by the total length, and you have to divide this with 10 meters to calculate the answer, but you will get the same answer. Okay, now this is the accuracy of this potentiometer, the device potentiometer. More you have the decimals, more the device is accurate to measure. Fine. So that is the first case. Now let us go to the arrangement 2, and whatever doubts you have related with this example and the topic arrangement 1, you can discuss with me in the live session. Let me come to this arrangement 2 now. The arrangement 2 circuit looks bit complex, but we'll try to break the circuit in some different forms here. Now what will happen here, when you will attach this secondary circuit, this is the secondary circuit, these are the connecting wires, and this is the primary circuit. Okay, so primary circuit and the secondary circuit are actually attached with some connecting wires in which we have galvanometer and the other stuff, whatever it is. Fine, let me come to the point directly. Now the basic thing is the current is flowing in the primary wire also, and the current is flowing in the secondary wire also in this arrangement 2, which is actually different from the arrangement 1. Now the current which is flowing in the secondary circuit will not interfere in the current of the primary circuit. Also one more thing which I forget to tell you, if this is positive polarity at this end, this polarity also has to be positive at this end. Then only you can attain the balance point. Otherwise you can't attain the balance point. If it is negative, the situation is totally different now. Okay, I hope it's clear. So the current which is flowing in this circuit will not interfere with the current flowing in the primary circuit. So this is first basic. Now obviously if there is some current which is flowing in this circuit here, so we can get some value of voltage as well. Okay, so whenever you will attempt a question which is related with the arrangement 2, the statement of the question will actually give you a hint that this is arrangement 2. So how it will give you a hint? Uh, when you will read the question, it will be written that the switch S1 is closed and S2 is open. So when this S1 is closed and S2 is open switch, okay, so we are actually checking the voltage of this portion, only the voltage across point, the resistance P, okay. So we will attain a balance point at some particular distance on the wire, and we can use the definition of the potential gradient. Fine. So the voltage across this P resistance, that will be IP, because current which is flowing in the lower circuit, I have told you, that is I. Fine. And this will be equal to K times L1. Simply the balance voltage is equal to the divided by the balance length, that is the potential gradient. So I am using the same definition here. Moreover, the second statement in the question which will be given to you, that will be, if the switch S2 is closed and S1 is open, then we are actually checking the circuit from this whole this end. So we are actually checking the voltage of both of these resistances. Okay, so simply this is a series circuit, so the resistance will be P plus Q, and the reading will change, that will be L2 reading here. And what we can do is we can divide this result and this result to get our answers, whatever they will be asked in the question. Fine. Now again, I have to tell you one thing: the resistance across this and the voltage across this P and the voltage across this P plus Q has to be less than the voltage across the whole wire to attain the balance points within the range. Fine. Now let me discuss one basic question related with this. So this is the situation. Try to understand the circuit first. I told you that the statement will be like this only. The switch S1 is closed, S2 is open, and S2 is closed, S1 is open. Fine. So now when the switch S1 is closed switch, so we are actually measuring the voltage of just this resistance. And when the switch S2 is closed, okay, like you can check this, this is open and this is open here. So I have made two cases. Like when the switch S2 will be closed, we are discussing this whole current. Okay, we are trying to discuss this whole current. Sorry, this whole voltage. And earlier we were trying to discuss only this much voltage, the voltage across 10. Now how this was happening, this was all related with the potential gradient only. And we can make two different equations. And when we make these two different equations, we can divide them and calculate whatever answer is required. The unknown resistance R. This one. Fine. Okay. Now the next is, what will happen if the primary cell voltage is equal to the secondary cell voltage. So this thing I have already discussed in the topics in the arrangement 1, that this voltage has to be greater than this voltage, otherwise the balance point could not be attained. Moreover, uh, like if the key is going to get the balance point at this point, it can get far away from the potentiometer circuit, and we don't have the wire there. Okay, so that means the balance point will be attained more than the length of the wire. Now the basic thing is, what will happen if it is equal or if it is less than. In the case of less voltage, this E is less than V, there is no condition that we can attain the balance point. In the equal also, we can't attain the balance point. If this resistance will be present, we will not attain it. Still it will go out of the wire, length of the wire. Fine. So I have a trial cell for you. You can solve this circuit and discuss the answers with me in the live session. So try to solve this. You might feel some complex in this question, I think, but no, this question looks easy. So try this question. before we start with the next session. And now let me come to the next topic, which is arrangement 3. Alright, now this is the arrangement 3 in which we actually have to calculate the internal resistance of the circuit. So this resistance is basically the internal resistance of the circuit. Just keep this in mind for the while, and when you start doing the questions you can change your symbols whatever you want. Now this circuit is very important as we'll be using TPD in the lower circuit, and the TPD is actually the terminal potential difference. Okay, so this will be the shunt resistance used here. Fine. If you don't use this shunt resistance, then this arrangement will become the arrangement 1 of the potentiometer circuit. And this resistance will have no effect, as I have already told you. Are you getting my point? In the arrangement 1, this value of the resistance could be any value. But when you shunt this battery with some resistance R2 or some external resistance here in the secondary circuit, then the current will definitely flow in the secondary circuit. Okay, there will be current flowing in the circuit, and whenever there is a current flowing in the circuit, we use TPD. Now the next thing is um, the relation which we used in the secondary in the arrangement 1, that is the same relation which we have to use here. Okay, and that relation which was like R is equal to capital R multiplied by EL divided by VL minus 1. So that has to be just transformed, and how that transformation will be done there, I'll tell you this thing now. So what I've done is I've broken up the potentiometer into two circuits, that is primary and the secondary. So we have to measure the voltage across this resistance R2. Simply that I can do because the current of this secondary circuit will not interfere with the current of the primary circuit. Okay, and you can use the formula of terminal potential difference, or basically you can just calculate the current and you can calculate the resistance of the sorry you can calculate the voltage across this resistance R2. So I have used a simple result of TPD here, and I have substituted the value of I in the lower circuit. From here what I'll get the value of V dash, which will be equal to V times R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Fine, that is the TPD. Now how to get the internal resistance of this cell? So we have to compare some cases. Okay, I'll discuss this in the numerical easily. Now what will be done while solving this? Only the relation has to be transformed. Instead of this V, we'll be using V dash. So this is the transformation which is already done here. Okay, so this is the circuit 3. So to understand this circuit, let's discuss one numerically. So in this basic case, you can understand with the diagrams which I have made here. Now the basic thing is whatever data could be given in the circuit in the question, that will be very limited data, and actually the primary circuit will not play any major role in solving the internal resistance of the cell. Why? Because once you set up the primary circuit, the setup is going to remain same. Only you have to make the changes here in the secondary circuit. That will be the resistances, the shunting. You can change that anytime. And now let me begin. So in the first case, what is the TPD across the lower part? Like what is the resistance, what is the TPD across this 5? That will be V divided by R plus 5 multiplied by 5. The same basic which I told you in the previous arrangement, in the arrangement 3. And when it is shunted with the 20 ohms, obviously the voltage will change, the TPD will change, and that will be 20 multiplied by the current. Fine. And when the TPD gets changed, when you change TPD, obviously there is change in the balance point. The balance point actually changes. Fine. Now you can use the basic result which I told you in the arrangement 1 also, and try to substitute the values here directly. And once you try to solve this, most of the things will cancel up. Why? Because this is the R, which is the external resistance, which will be same. This is E. So most of the symbols will be cancelled up. Like you can solve this mathematical equation now. And simply when you will solve this, you will be just getting this result. So what I suggest you is you can directly solve the question from this result when it will be related with the arrangement 3, or you can solve this by putting the values in this result also. That all depends upon you. Fine. The major thing while discussing this potentiometer and Wheatstone bridge was how to analyze this data. This is basically data analysis of the practical. Now with these basics,